Hey guys, Miss Gregory. We are working on estimating with percents. We are going to focus in on the part of the standard talking about using the rate per hundred method. This goes with our book, Lesson 2.6, Chapter 2, Lesson 6. Page numbers are shown, and the standard this goes with MAFS, point 6. Point RP, ratios and proportions, 6th grade, and this is 1.3C. So make sure you have all of your supplies, including your workbook, pencil, pen, whatever you need for notes, and headphones in a nice quiet place to listen and study. When you're ready, move on. All right, these are some tips and tricks that are not mentioned in the book. So you are going to need to write this down on your own paper, and notice the little pencil icon in the top to remind you to write all of this down. Okay, there's something called the 10% rule, which is an easy way of saying you're just going to move the decimal point to the left one time. All right, let me change colors here. 10% of 100. So there's always a decimal after the whole number, and we are going to move the decimal to the left one time. So 10% of 100 is 10. Kind of like you're dropping that 0. 10% of 50, move it to the left one time, is 5. Again, we can just drop that 0. Now, not all numbers will have a 0 to drop, as in the next example, 10% of 25. So if I move it over once, my answer is 2.5. Okay, so that's a little trick. Sometimes people use that when they are finding the tip in a restaurant, or maybe when they are trying to find the discount when something is on sale at a store. So that's a little mental math trick you can use. So along the same lines, we've got the 1% rule. This means you're going to move your decimal to the left 2 times. Okay, so again, 1% of 200, you've got your decimal point at the end of your whole number. You're going to move it over twice. 1% of 200 is 2. 1% of 30, again, you need to move that over twice, so the answer would be 3/10. 1% of 75, again, you've got your decimal at the end, you're going to move it over twice, so your answer would be 7,500. So this is a trick. Some people like it, some people don't. If you don't understand this, by all means, you don't have to use it. This is just a mental math trick. But make sure you write the examples down. Once you've written everything down, you can move to the next slide. Okay, now we are looking at the book. This is your workbook, page 139. Okay. And there are some important things I need you to write down. This is the way that you have to know. Estimate using the rate per hundred. This is actually written in the standard, and this is one of the ways you must learn to estimate and find percent. Percent basically means per 100. Cent is 100th. Okay, so per 100 helps explain the steps for this question. Okay, you are estimating 17% of 198. 17% basically just means 17 out of 100, or 17 over 100 if you wanted to write it as a fraction. Then you need to estimate 198, basically round it to the nearest hundred, so that of course would be 200. Since 200 is 100 plus 100, then you would add 17 out of 100 twice. 17 plus 17 is 34. Or you could say 17 times 2 is 34. 34 is about 17% of 198. Now, if you're thinking about a real-world example, let's go back to the store. The store sells a tablet for $198 at 17% off. What is the discount? So if we were thinking of a real-world example for this problem, you would be able to figure this out. Okay? Again, make sure you copy everything on the page, that you have to know this way, what percent means, the real world example, the steps. Once you've copied everything, move on. Okay, again, there's not a lot of examples on this particular method, so again, you need your notebook paper and you're going to copy what you see here on notebook paper. Estimate 27% of 512. So you've got 27 out of 100. That represents the percent. You could even write it as 27 over 100, like a fraction. You need to estimate 512, round it to the nearest 100, which would be 500. You would have to round down in this case. And now you are going to say basically 27 times 5, because it's 5 100s. And so 27 times 5 is 135. So the answer, estimating 27% of 512, your answer is 135. This really is a fairly easy method, and it works most of the time. I won't say all of the time because there are some trickier problems, but they do want you to know how to do this easy way to figure out and estimate percent. Okay, once you've copied everything, move to the next page. Alright, we are going to wait to practice. We are not going to do the guided practice because there are ways that we don't have to worry about estimating with percent, and that may confuse you. So we're going to wait, go over this in class, then we will do specific homework problems on the pages listed, but we're only going to do the ones that apply the rate per 100 method that go with lesson 2.6. So good night. See you tomorrow in class. Miss Gregory signing out.